everybody, and welcome to what is the last presentation of the day ahead of our networking event. We have one more exciting company to present, and our next presenter is Capitan Mining. Presenting on behalf of the company is Alberto Orozco, President and CEO. Go ahead, Alberto.
Thank you, Derek. It's great to be here today presenting Capitan Mining. I will be making some forward-looking statements, so please take note of that. Capitan Mining is a new public gold-silver company that is going to be focused in working in Durango, Mexico, and it's being spun out of Riverside Resources. And let me tell you why we're excited about this company. Let's start with saying that we have an advanced exploration story with our Peñoles project located in Durango, Mexico. It's interesting because the project only has 10,000 meters of drilling. But with that, it's a relatively small amount of drilling. There's already 500,000 ounces gold equivalent inferred resource defined in the project. This resource consists of two zones that are distinct. One, Capitan Hill, that is mostly dominated by gold mineralization. And the second one, the Jesus Maria zone, which is dominantly silver mineralization. However, both zones have gold and silver. And well, we'll see that these two zones in detail in further slides. You can see there the resource starting with just over 300,000 ounces of gold over in Capitan Hill and 15 million ounces of silver in Jesus Maria. One very important thing is that this current inferred resource was estimated for an open pit type of deposit, and that the mineralization remains open at both at depth and along strike. So that's a really good start for Capitan, already having an existing inferred resource in the project. Important as well is that not only do we have that, but there are also additional intercepts of mineralization that have been cut, particularly underneath the Jesus Maria silver zone, that include some very interesting high-grade silver intercepts. Those have not been included at all at the current resource estimation, and they need to be followed up on further. So it's still very early days for the project in terms of the exploration of the asset, but it's a great start with this 500,000 ounce inferred gold equivalent inferred resource. There's additional exploration upside in the project, so it's not only our current resource. There are different other zones within the project that I'll be showing as well in further slides that by themselves could be their own company. I mean, these are really exciting additional zones within our Peñoles project that definitely create much more excitement for the Peñoles project. Importantly as well, we have a management with the right track record in Mexico of delivering value to shareholders in companies like Linear Gold, Pediment Gold, more recently with Argonaut Gold, where the team we have been putting together for the last 16 years or so has been working on very similar assets like the Peñoles project. And I'll mention some of that as well in detail in following slides. So we're excited about it. We have a great starting asset, a great team, a very good, attractive initial valuation with a pre-money market cap of approximately 3.4 million, with that 500,000 ounce gold equivalent resource, and a tight share structure with a high quality shareholder base. Oops, sorry here, just there we go. Had a problem with the transition of slides. So going to the share structure. Because this is a spin out going out of Riverside Resources, we're doing this through a plan of arrangement. What's going to happen is that we're going to have 17.5 million shares issued to the current Riverside shareholders. There are some warrants and options there as well, as you can see in this slide. And so we have a pre-financing market cap of $3.5 million. And a post-financing market cap of 7 million. So we're raising additional funds that are going to create an additional 17.7 million shares. The pie chart that you're looking at there at the bottom of the slide, that's the composition of the current Riverside shareholders. So those 17.5 million shares, that's who they are going to go to. I think it's a pretty good distribution of those shares, with the larger proportion of them going to 40% to European investor groups. There's 10% for Sprott Global, Adrian Day Asset Management is 8%, and there's a large portion, 35% to retail investors. So that's what's going to be in the end close to 50% of the Capitan Mining shareholders. But let's start getting a little more into detail into the team and eventually into the asset, and so that you can know why we're excited about doing this. We have a great management and board and a great technical team, starting with our board of directors. Myself as a director, I've been involved, and I'll show you some of my experience in a moment. I've been involved with assets like the Peñoles project since the beginning of my career. But we also have John Mark Stouty, the CEO of Riverside, where this is being spun out from. And you know, John Mark has extensive experience in Mexico. He's been known as Mr. Mexico. I've heard that him referred as that before. So he's got extensive exploration experience in Mexico that's going to bring a lot of benefit to Capitan shareholders. And then we have Arturo Bonillas as our third director, who is CEO of Magna Gold, and he's a well-known, very experienced mine operator in Mexico. So I think this is a very strong initial board for Capitan Mining with you know, heavy experience in Mexico. In terms of a technical team, without going into great detail, what I can tell you is that we have everybody we need to get this going, from the people who would be full-time or consulting. We have everybody from our project manager all the way to our metallurgical consultants for permitting, QA/QC, everything we need we have right there. So, and that's a team that for the last 16 years has been put together. And we have been working in companies before where we have shown that we can deliver that value. On the next slide, I will show you 5 projects that stand out in our track record and have been successful, 2 of which we've been instrumental in getting into production. But besides that, I would also like to highlight in this particular slide that our network not only includes the technical aspects, it goes beyond that and into the non-market aspects, government at the 3 levels, different chambers of business, etc. So that's important and gives us an advantage in Capitan over other companies. On our track record, won't spend too much time on this slide. You could review it later in detail if you like, but I would say what is important to show or to talk about in this slide is that we have not only been involved in successful stories as a team, that we have been able to create value for the companies that we have worked for, but we have also been able to recognize the value early on at an early stage. And there's a number of examples in this track record that demonstrated. La Colorada mine was one of them in Sonora, Mexico. Additionally, what this track record says is that we have experience in the jurisdiction that we are working on and in the type of project that we are working on with the Peñoles project. So these are all very similar projects. They're all plus 1 million ounce projects, 3 of them which are currently in production. And we have been involved in all the different stages, from early stage discovery all the way to production. So all these projects that I just highlighted, we've obviously worked on numerous more projects, but these 5 projects that I highlighted, they are all open pit heap leach type of projects. Why do we like them? We like them because they are easier to advance, they're lower cost to explore and to develop, they require a lower capital intensity once they are put into production, so they can move much faster and a much lower cost. And it's important when evaluating this type of project to make sure that you go beyond the grade and look at what the project economics are and what the potential for future cash flow generation is. And that's something we have looked at in all the different projects we have been working on, and something that we have looked at in the Peñoles project, and which is why we like it as well. And on that note, on this slide, what we're trying to show here is the size of the opportunity with the Peñoles project. And what we did was we tried our best here to compare it with two other projects that we know really well, El Castillo and San Agustin, at the point in which they were acquired, and they were both acquired by Argonaut Gold. Additionally, we like them because they're close to the Peñoles project, so we thought they were a good comparison. They're both in Durango. While they were a bit more advanced than Peñoles is right now at the time they were acquired, we believe they still provide a really good comparison. You can see that resource-wise, we would be under both El Castillo and San Agustin at the point in which they were bought out. But these projects also had a lot more drilling than we currently have today. And again, I'll stress that we only have 10,000 meters of drilling at the Peñoles project, and that has given us that 500,000 gold equivalent resource. Grade-wise, we're very similar to both Castillo and San Agustin, but we were slightly higher grade in the gold. We are significantly higher grade in the silver to San Agustin, no silver in El Castillo. So grade-wise, we're better than both of those projects. So we're at an earlier stage than both of these, with slightly better grade and still open in every direction. Comparing us well, what the land packages were at the time, we have significantly much more land than both El Castillo and San Agustin. And it's not just hectares that are empty. This is ground that has significant exploration potential. And I'll show you some of that in upcoming slides. So that's where these projects were at the point when they were acquired. El Castillo back in 2010, that was the initial operation for Argonaut Gold at that point, and that was a 112 million acquisition. Times in which the gold prices were still climbing, but not at their highest. For San Agustin, and in 2013, prices were dropping, but even with in that situation, this was still a 90 million cash and stock transaction, showing the value that these projects, this type of projects can have. And there are also proven successes. When you look at El Castillo, it's been in production since 2005. San Agustin had a projection to produce in between 8 and 10 years. It's currently operating since 2017. And these are projects that can generate significant cash flow, particularly in times of good gold prices. So we believe that this slide is quite important in showing the size of the opportunity for the Peñoles project. And at this point, we are only discussing the open pit heap leach potential. We have not mentioned yet the higher grade, particularly in the silver, that has been intersected in the past and that we will be targeting as well in the future. So starting to get into the asset in more detail, this project is located in what I believe to be one of the best jurisdictions in Mexico. It's definitely one in which I've enjoyed working the most, Durango State in northern Mexico. The project has good infrastructure, good access. It's not up in the mountains, it's in a gentle topography area that is really favorable for both the exploration and if it advances as well, for developing the asset. Surrounded by other successful stories as well that include the two assets I talked about earlier, Castillo and San Agustin, but many others. So it's proven that this is a good jurisdiction to be in, where others have been successful in the past. Friendly mining state in Durango. And if we start to zoom in into the project a little more, you'll see our concession package here. I've been mostly talking about the Capitan and Jesus Maria zone, which is where we have our current inferred resource. Again, Capitan Gold, Jesus Maria, the silver. That area has still potential to grow. But I've been talking about as well the additional exploration upside. We have other zones that are interesting and that could by themselves be something really interesting. That includes the areas of Pinchazo to the south, the Capitan-2 target to the southeast of the current resource area, and as well as the San Rafael target, which has had some very limited drilling, but nonetheless successful drilling as it has intersected mineralization. So really, again, going back to the beginning of this presentation, we have a nice starting resource of 500,000 ounces gold equivalent, but really good exploration upside as well that adds to that potential. So zooming into the resource area where we have the Capitan and Jesus Maria zones, again, Capitan gold mostly, or gold dominated, Jesus Maria silver dominated. You can see there the distribution of the resources. And there's a few more things that I would like to highlight in this particular slide. One is you can see the mineralization comes right to surface. Two, that the mineralization is very continuous and that it's still open in all directions. It's a very tabular, very continuous body of mineralization that's really good in both exploring and eventually considering to develop this. And if we look at what we're going to do in exploring this project, in this cross-section, you can see that we will go, one, for the step-out targets of the open pit resource in both the gold and the silver area as our primary target. A secondary target would be to intercept extensions of the high-grade silver mineralization that has already been cut. You can see in this slide one example of that with 1.24 meters of 988 grams per ton silver and then just over a gram per ton gold, but there are wider intercepts than that as well. And other targets that are more conceptual here, but we believe that there's significant potential to grow this very quickly. You can see this in detail later on, but the type of intercepts we're talking about in the gold zone include over plus 100-meter intercepts of over 0.5, 0.6 gold, and in the silver as well, we have some wider intercepts of silver, but also very high-grade silver in zones that are only high-grade gold and silver, and some that include even high lead and zinc. One sample there grading up to over 10% plus lead and zinc together. In trying to just wrap up the presentation and the exploration potential, this is the Pinchazo zone to the south that I mentioned in the previous map. This is a 1.8 kilometer long surface anomaly with grab samples that are grading, many of them are grading over a gram per ton gold. And that's higher grade than we have in our Capitan zone. One of them is even going up to 3 grams. This alone, we believe, is a very exciting target that has not been drilled and that deserves additional exploration work. And we'll definitely be going and be doing some additional work in this area. I also mentioned San Rafael, which is a zone to the east that has been drilled, has had 5 very widely spaced drill holes that intercepted some of the veins that have been mapped in the area. This has at least 4 major veins that have been delineated. Not all of them have been drilled, but some interesting grades have been cut in this area, and it's definitely going to be a high priority target for Capitan moving forward. So we're very excited about starting Capitan. We have a project that has a really good start with an inferred gold silver resource in Mexico, great jurisdiction, with the management team that has the right track record, who has worked in similar assets in Mexico and delivered value to shareholders before. Additional exploration upside in the project, and a tight share structure, high quality shareholder base, and will be well financed to deliver on our business plan. And that's our presentation, Derek.
Thank you very much, Alberto. We are just about out of time, but maybe very quickly, obviously this is a new company that's being spun out of Riverside. Maybe talk a little bit about the timing and when people can expect to be able to buy Capitan in the market.
Sure. Well, we've been closing our financing, and because this is a plan of arrangement, this is actually going to go quite fast now. We are planning to be public by the middle of August, and getting to work very soon after that. Great.
All right. Well, I look forward to both the start of trading and the initial results from this project. Thank you very much, Alberto. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining us for today and for this presentation.